Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome, man. Getting
Excellent.
ready for the Giants. My key to the game is you have to be able to establish the run so that Brian Burns and company can't tee off on Caleb Williams. And that should, in my opinion, allow you to make deep shot opportunities prevalent for the Bear. Do you agree, or am I all wet?
No, I 100% agree. I think the running game has a lot to do with this game for both sides, because if you look at the leading rusher for the after Scadaboo got hurt, it's still Jackson Dart, and he's the leading passer. So you have to completely take the run away from the New York Giants. And the Bears have to capitalize on the success they had in the run game last week and continue that running performance as the season winds on. So to me, if you could take the run game and the escapability and the escape hatch away from Jackson Dart, their next leading rusher is Teron Tracy. He's got 177 yards. So, the profits that the Bears had from the running game this past week, time of possession, but now it's all got a compute cap once they get into the red zone to touchdowns. And I think that's still, kind of, if you look at a point of interest within this offense, it is that, all important 20 yards.
Tom, what do you think of those sleight of hand magic plays, those trick plays that Ben Johnson puts out there? There's been the old adage is, if you have trick plays, sometimes you may not be 100% confident in your offense. But in this case, this is kind of who Ben Johnson is. So what do you think?
Jay Hood, it's kind of interesting because if you watch college football and you watch professional football, I don't know if you can really give these the title of trick plays because they've infiltrated the offenses on so many football teams that they're just part of the offense. But it's something that those sleight of hand plays, those double reverses, that Tyson Bagent throwback, you got to practice those a lot. And sometimes that's the fun practice of training camp when you install these plays and then you go, wow, this may be an opportunity to run this play, so let's put it in the offense. And it's just the same thing. I remember being at practice when Mike Ditka said, hey, bring William Perry down to the short yardage goal line, or before the regular offense, before the San Francisco game, when he was going to put in William Perry. And then Fridge comes waddling down the field, and he gets inserted into the huddle. And it just kind of lights the lamp. It's just kind of the fun part of the mundane week-to-week preparation in football. So I like them because I think it's fun. It includes guys. DJ Moore throws a touchdown pass. Tyson Bagent gets a chance to get in the game. So I like it. I don't look at it as trick plays anymore. Now I just see, like Jeff called them this week, designer plays. And so I know you're a big designer guy. I know that you carry all the logos and stuff of designer. So I kind of like that title of the plays.
Yeah, Hoodie does. I'm much more of a Carhartt and
Yes, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, like a real man. Carhartt.
Yeah.
Carhartt for real man. We love Carhartt.
Well, hopefully for your 25th anniversary, you bought your wife something nice and it included some special logo.
Absolutely. Carhartt.
Yeah,
That's right.
Here,
Carhartt
Michelle.
gloves.
Carhartt. I got you a nice warm hat. Hey, so as you look at this game, I think it's going to be a closer game than many others do. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, blowout. I said, no. I don't think so. Like, I would not be stunned. I'd be really saddened, but I would not be stunned if this was a loss. I think that team, if they're able to make a couple of takeaways, turn into points, and now you're forced to have to pass, and Brian Burns and those guys tee off, you've got problems. That's why you can't turn it over, and you've got to establish the run. Do you feel comfortable defensively they can handle a Jackson Dart type performance? Because he's pretty good.
Go real quickly on the Bears offense. If you become one-dimensional, then you're playing with fire.
Yes.
Because of Burns and the crew, they can get at it. But I think when you look at what's affecting the Bears' defensive backfield most, even though Flacco had some success last week on just having man-to-man coverage, throwing it up there, and relying on either a pass interference or a big catch, and he had some big catches. But the thing that concerns me with a young quarterback is if you can run crossing routes against the Bears efficiently. And I see that's kind of where some of the receivers of the opponent get lost in the crossing. And then you have those not sleight of hand handoffs that Jay Hood was talking about, but now you got the sleight of movement when you have crossing routes. And if Jackson Dart gets a good relationship, Wan'Dale Robinson's got 540 yards receiving. They got a good tight end. Everybody knows Neighbors is hurt. So, you're trying to make it a comfortable, comfortable atmosphere for a young rookie quarterback. And if he doesn't see what's offered to him in terms of what he just called in the huddle, he's got that willingness to run the ball. And he's got over 250 yards rushing. So I think there's a lot that you better be concerned about, from a young quarterback to a guy that's willing to throw and run. And then for your running game, that needs to be successful so you don't become one-dimensional against their pass rush ability.
Tom Thayer with us here on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show. Some thoughts from Ben Johnson, the head coach for the Bears, about his comfort with the defensive line depth.
Well, yeah, he was turning over every stone in looking for ways to improve our roster both this year and in future years. And so I thought we had some really healthy dialogues on what we wanted that to look like, and as we're building this thing on out. And so it was good. I feel really good about the move we made, and I think our guys will step up as we get going here in the second half of the season. I think Sweat's starting to come on. I thought Book had a good start there to the second half with that first game, and so I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot here up front.
Listen, Tom, you just know that defensive effort was not good enough against Joe Flacco, who was at 100%. He's back there to launch here. It's just throwing the ball around with his kids. That's what it looked like at times, picking the defense apart. I just want to know, how does this get better moving forward? Because it's not enough of a pass rush for me. It's not even about sacks, just getting pressure. And the other thing is, it's just that getting gashed over and over again. That just won't work in front of the secondary. So what's the elixir?
You got to try, what kind of defensive line do you want to be? You got these undersized athletes that you thought would be able to create some disengagement and escapability from their offensive linemen to get into the backfield, either to help stop the rush, the run, or at least slow down the passing of the opponent's quarterback. But then you got Andrew Billings, you got Williams, and you got Ford. These guys are guys that are 325 to 350-pound guys that play on the interior. And then you got Javon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. Somewhere, shape, or form on that first down and that second and long, you got to figure out a way that you can limit the running game to put yourself in an athlete advantage on third down. And that's when you can use Montez Sweat, you can use Austin Booker, and then you can bring in the other pieces that they feel that can win some pass rushes. But, it's going to take a total team effort and a design by Dennis Allen to make sure that he's got the right players on the field according to what the opponent wants to do against them. And I think this kind of brings up an interesting week because they don't have Scattaboo. They don't have a lot out of their running game. So are we going to see a defensive line that's pass rush present, or, we still got to stop the running game in order to get into that pass rush type of personnel?
So, Tommy, I was on the phone with you the other day, and I asked you about playing against the Giants in your career, and you had an awesome Lawrence Taylor story.
Well, the thing about it was really Mike Ditka. He said he's never going to allow a guy to do what he wants to do against him. So you're going to make that working atmosphere for him very uncomfortable. In the 7 years that our offensive line played against Lawrence Taylor, we never gave up a sack to him. But a lot of it had to do is because in our offense, we had these plays, power 36G, 29, 49, 28 EO, 49 near GO wing crack. And all of those plays were emphasized hitting Lawrence Taylor at awkward angles. A crack would be Dennis McKinnon coming from the outside and blindsiding from his left side when he's lined up on the right-hand side. A power G would be Matt Suey cutting him. A near GO would be Matt Suey cutting him. So on those plays, Matt Suey was killing him, was absolutely cutting him every play. And Lawrence Taylor, you could just see him getting more irate throughout the game. And so at one point after Matt had cut him like maybe 5 or 6 plays in a row in that direction, Lawrence Taylor was coming into our huddle wanting to fight Matsui.
Oh my
And
God.
so now Ditka, because we went to a one back or it was nickel or passing down, so he took Matsui out. And Lawrence Taylor is going to the Bears sideline telling Ditka to put Matsui back in the game because he wants to kick his ass. and there is in the archive footages, there is a great film scene of Lawrence Taylor threatening the Bears sideline because Matsui is on the sideline, and Matt calmly said to him one in the game, goes, "Lawrence, what do you want me to do? You want me to take you up high for no reason? I'm going to keep cutting you." And it was just, Matt is the voice of reason. Lawrence Taylor is completely out of his mind. Ditka is loving it because he set the challenge up early in the week that we are not going to let him rush the passer. We are not going to let him play the run from behind. We are going to run right at him and attack him repeatedly. And so that was, in the 85 playoff game. And I think we opened up with him on Monday Night Football, maybe in 87. But yeah, it was kind of the fun of playing against a guy like Lawrence Taylor, who is, plays a big role in the history of the National Football League, but also, what Ditka wanted to do to him and what Matsui did to him.
Hoodie, I told Tom that I was watching with my son Brett the 85 highlight video that Harry Callis narrated.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And there's a scene where here comes Lawrence Taylor off the edge, and Jimbo Covert just drives him into the ground, pancakes him.
Oh, my God.
And that's how we got to that story. In that game.
And that's the great part of it is because Lawrence Taylor, if he wanted to flip sides, then he had that option. But you're going through from a 6'7" Van Horn to a 6'4" Jimbo Covert. And they both have different styles of play, but they both did absolutely fantastic jobs against him in the times that we did play against him, Lawrence Taylor.
That's just awesome.
Isn't that great? I knew you'd love that.
That's a great story, man. We want to get your thoughts about the offense. We had our topic in our last hour, Tommy, talking about the letter grade you'd give the Bears overall for everything that front office and Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, the defense. We came to a consensus that's a solid B. What's your letter grade for what you've seen through the halfway mark of the season?
It's kind of okay. We all took midterm exams. So if I was going to grade these guys in the first 3 weeks of the season, I would have probably given them a C to a C minus. But this has been elevated now to a B plus to me because the offensive line is playing a different brand of football. And that was that had to happen. They had to play a different brand of football, and they've been able to do that. They've been able to survive. They've had some injury interruptions at the running back position since the beginning of the season. We all see the continuous development of Caleb Williams trying to figure out how Colston Loveland's going to fit into this offense, and we're seeing that. But now it's going to come down to probably if you do want to get up to a guaranteed B plus to an A minus, it's going to be how can this defense finish out this regular season. So in a midterm grade, I'll give them a solid B, hopefully with their arrow pointed up.
You know what, Cap? I'm not even bothered by Theo Benedict's 2 penalties a game anymore. Not even concerned.
When I watch him block a guy into the bench, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Did he have 2 penalties this week?
I think I heard his number twice. That's okay.
I think he had 1.
I thought he might have had 1, but that's Jay Hood. You got to clean up penalties everywhere, and you can't have them at the most important times. And if and then you have to improve in the red zone. And so if you can do all those things as conditions and weather deteriorates throughout the rest of the season, you're going to give yourselves a lot of options with the creativity of Ben Johnson and where this offense is going.
It's a Darnell Wright play you're talking about, right?
Well, there was a Benedette play where he literally blocks a guy and just drives him all the way to the bench.
So that was a run to the left, and Colston, Theo Benedette, and Roma Dunze all had really good blocks.
Outstanding.
The fourth and 1 where Darnell Wright drove the defensive lineman probably 8 or 9 yards down at an angle and buried him. Could be one of the most powerful blocks that I've seen in quite a few years here. And hopefully that's what you want to be able to develop for 3rd and short and 4th and short. That will give the coaches more confidence of a go-behind guy.
So that's got to be a roar in the auditorium, right? They put that tape on.
Oh,
that's got to make
God.
you feel good when you see
Gotta
that,
be,
right?
right?
Oh, I was watching it on the way home on the airplane, and it just kind of – and then – so I looked at it, and then I had to go back and look at the down and distance and look at, just look at the play 5 or 6 times and show a couple of other people. Yeah, I mean, it was a powerful, committed block. That's an offensive line that's committing to his block and not kind of being nervous about if the guy arm overs me or he's going at an opposite angle. Just Darnell just did a fantastic job on that 4th and 1.
All right, we appreciate your time. You feel like this is a game they should win, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to play at home. You got the audience. If you can make these guys one-dimensional, I think it can really help you. But like you said at the beginning, you got to have your running game complement your passing game on behalf of the Bears offense.
Have a great rest of your week. We appreciate you every week.
Yeah, boys. Thank you. See you guys.
See you, brother.